Welcome back. As you know, I'm Eli the Computer Guy here for the Daily Blob, where we say, have we talked about this before? I feel like we've already talked about this. On the other hand, maybe not. There are so many layoffs in the tech world, back to back to back layoffs, right? Revenue is up, stock prices are up, and employees gotta go. And so I get to this point where I just sit here and I'm looking at the article, and it's like, didn't I just talk about this? And then you realize, no, I think this is a new one. I think this is a new round of layoffs. Yes. Anyways, just realize your misery is my clickbait that makes me a fraction of a cent. When you lose your ability to pay for your mortgage, I earn half a penny. So it works for me. Anyways, so Microsoft, because we've talked about Microsoft before. Microsoft is now planning major Xbox layoffs next week. And I think this is interesting. We've been hearing for so long how the video game industry is so massive, right? It's larger than Hollywood. It's $300 billion a year in revenue. And so also all these companies for a number of years now have just been throwing more and more and more money into this particular sector. And we've been getting, longer and longer video games. Are they better? I'm actually playing Assassin's Creed right now. That goes on forever. I'm not sure it's a good game. But anyways, right? It's a huge industry. They keep throwing money at it. And the returns are starting to get questionable at this point. So it looks like there's going to be more layoffs on the horizon. Coming from The Verge, Microsoft planning major Xbox layoffs. Microsoft is also planning thousands of jobs cuts that will impact other parts of its businesses. Microsoft is planning to cut jobs in the company's Xbox gaming business as early as next week. So this came out yesterday, right? First reported in Notepad earlier this month that Microsoft was planning Xbox layoffs, quote, potentially by the end of the month, and now Bloomberg says a round of major layoffs is due next week. Managers at Microsoft have been briefed about Xbox cuts and wider layoffs in other parts of Microsoft's business. The upcoming cuts are also expected to hit Microsoft's sales organization just as the start of a new financial year. So again, with financial years, you have the normal year, January 1st to December 31st. With financial years, basically you can shift those from a business sense. If there's a reason you want your financial year to start at a different point in time, this is something to be thinking about when you're trying to close contracts with businesses. Some businesses need to spend money by the end of their fiscal year. Some of the businesses have no money at the end of their fiscal year, and they don't get new money until the beginning of the next fiscal year. Fiscal years. That's a fun thing with trying to close business contracts. So anyways, their fiscal year is coming to an end, and basically they are going to be eliminating people with it. Microsoft is planning to restructure parts of its Xbox business as it looks ahead to its next generation of consoles. One source tells them that Microsoft is restructuring Xbox distribution across Central Europe, resulting in some Xbox operations ceasing in some regions. These latest layoffs will be in addition, and that's where I get confused. Because I know I've been talking about Microsoft layoffs. Oh no, this is in addition to the other stuff I've been talking about. In addition to the 6,000 cuts Microsoft already made in May. So we're in June. We are in June. 6,000 were gone in May, and on top of the more than 300 impact earlier this month in June too. Any major Xbox cuts will be the latest in a series of big gaming-related layoffs over the past 18 months after Microsoft laid off 1,900 Activision Blizzard and Xbox employees in January 2024, and then in May 2024, the company closed several game studios, including Hi-Fi Rush developer Tango Gameworks and Redfall developer Arcane Austin. Microsoft also laid off 650 more Xbox employees in September, and also cut around 1,000 employees from its HoloLens and Azure cloud teams in June last year. So Microsoft has been cutting, and now there are going to be more people being eliminated from the Xbox division. What is that going to mean from a practical standpoint? As a video gamer, I don't know. I don't play Microsoft games. I don't own an Xbox. Maybe that's one of the problems there. I own a PlayStation 5. So what is that going to mean for that world? Who knows? This may be one of those things where they're basically people were hired to be asses in seats. So if you eliminate those people, it really will not affect the product at the end of the day. On the other hand, though, since there have been so many layoffs up until this point in time, there is a question of whether or not these layoffs will actually affect Xbox and the services that you get, and how much that will matter. I don't know. I guess we'll see, or you'll see, because you own an Xbox. That's one of the things to be thinking about, like with these layoffs and things, and when businesses basically try to cut costs. One of the reasons they can cut costs is that they're trying to cut fat. Right, so as I've talked about before, there's a lot of fat. There's a lot of fat asses, right? Cut those fat asses, and at the end of the day, the service that you receive, you don't notice, right? They make more profit, your price point stays the same, you don't notice. The other issue you can run into, though, sometimes is companies that basically they get to the point where they realize that they really don't have a future. So basically, there is a timer on the product that they're offering, right? It will only be valuable for the next so long. We had this issue, with the DSL lines for a while, where basically companies that were providing DSL services knew the value of providing DSL. Basically wasn't going to last very much longer. So basically they started increasing the price on people who had DSL service because they were not able to get any other service, right? If you can't get fiber and you can't get cable internet or whatever else, basically you're stuck with DSL. So as the user numbers dropped, basically they increased the price. And so the people that were stuck basically ended up driving money into the company. So they started getting a worse and worse quality of service as their price went up. And that'll be an interesting thing to be thinking about with Microsoft, with this whole question of what is the viability of Xbox in general, especially since they own Windows. All right, so Sony, they have their PlayStation, and that's about it. Remember with Microsoft, they have the Windows operating system. With the Windows operating system, they're part of the Wintel duopoly. On top of that, they've got the ARM ports of Windows and that type of thing. Now, there actually has been a question for a while about whether Xbox itself should continue to exist. Is it necessary to have Xbox, or would it just start to make more sense to put more focus essentially on Microsoft gaming? Like Xbox right now, like when you think about a brand, right? When you think about the brand is with Xbox is that hardware product, right? You think Xbox, you think box. Right? But the interesting thing is like with Netflix, right? Netflix, if you go back 20 years ago, when you thought about Netflix, the brand, it was DVDs in the mail. Now, when you think about Netflix, they've changed it to streaming, right? That was a rebranding. That was changing your mental image of the company so that they could go into the new world. One of the curious things to be thinking about here with Xbox is like, what is Xbox? When we talk about the brand of Xbox, is brand of Xbox the hardware itself, the actual box, or do they want it to be more of the idea of a service, right? Xbox is gaming. Is Xbox hardware or is Xbox gaming? Those are two different things. And so what'll be kind of curious to see with this is depending on where they go. If they feel that Xbox, the hardware, is dying, and Xbox, the gaming concept, is the future, that they may start pulling more and more resources from that hardware type area and start focusing more and more on the services that are being provided. What will that look like for customers that actually buy their services? It'll be interesting to see. We will find out at some point. So anyways, there you go. Hey, did you want to be a video game developer? I actually feel bad about video game developers. True story. So back when I lived in Baltimore, for some reason, there was this place called Hunt Valley. So there's a suburb of Baltimore called Hunt Valley that was just a hub of game development. Who the hell knows why? Somebody explained to me like 15 years ago why it was. It's one of these weird things where years ago, some game development studio set up like a satellite office there, and then more studios did the same. And then all of a sudden, Hunt Valley evolved. And if you go to Hunt Valley, you're like, what? Anyways, it's one of those random ass things, all right? Hub of video game creation. The curious thing is, so I knew CEOs of game development companies, small ones, not Activision, but small ones, and I talked to them about hiring employees. And the curious thing was that for coders, they could get coders fucking nothing, right? They could get experienced coders for like $40,000, $50,000 a year, right? So even 10, 15 years ago, experienced coders we're going for $90,000 to $100,000 a year in some place like Hunt Valley, and they could get them for $40,000 or $50,000 a year. And I looked, I was like, how? I mean, these are skilled coders. It's not like, oh, they're doing HTML or whatever. They're skilled coders. And the interesting thing was the CEOs, they all said, well, everybody thinks creating video games is cool, right? If you were a video game developer, it has a cool factor. Right, so if you want to hire somebody to be a database administrator seems lame and sucky. So if you want to get somebody to be a database administrator, you have to pay them enough money to have a lame job. Where video game developer is cool and sexy and your friends will be jealous, so you can pay them peanuts. Which apparently is true. I've talked with a lot of people in the game industry, and they're like, oh God, yes, it's true. So anyways, I almost feel worse for these Xbox people because of that. Because like what we're seeing is a class of technology professionals that have been massively overworked. Again, the whole idea of crunch time and all of that, they epitomize. They have been underpaid, and now they're being thrown out like yesterday's trash. So if nothing else, the takeaway from this particular video is just to realize not all tech jobs are created the same. And you really do have to think about it. Would you rather have a cool job, or would you rather have a job that pays you enough so that you can do cool things? Something to ponder there. So what do you think about this? With major Xbox layoffs, after the 6,000 layoffs, after the 300 layoffs, after so many layoffs, how are you feeling about your prospects in the tech industry? Does it put a smile on your face? I'm sorry, it's so bad, but I've been screaming about this crap for like a decade. I've been screaming about the job market being stupid in the tech world for like a decade. It just makes me feel good to see it finally fall apart. Have you ever had that in life where you look at something that just should fall apart? There is no way that crap should be able to continue standing. And then day after day it does. And then people say, well, you must just not understand. And you're like, I don't. And then one day the entire thing starts falling over. And you're like, yay! Everybody's like, oh, you're just a cold-hearted bastard. It's like, well, yes, but I'm also just happy that gravity actually still works. Anyways, maybe that's just me. Put your thoughts down below. What do you think about the Xbox layoffs? What do you think about the Microsoft layoffs? What do you think about paying game developers peanuts so that they can have cool jobs, and then throwing them out like the trash that they are when you're done with them? Put your thoughts down below. Remember, we're in the modern social media world. Doesn't matter whether it's thumb up, thumbs down, good comment, bad comment. It's all an interaction as far as YouTube is concerned. See y'all later.